Okay, hello everyone. So this live stream is to the competition that I posted last week. So last week I had a task 2 question. I asked you to write your full answers, and now I'm going to choose the winner and give that person a full essay correction with their scores and just show them exactly, what scores they would expect and also what areas they need to work on. At the end of this live stream, I have another question and we'll repeat the process. So a new question, and then next Wednesday, I'll choose another winner and do another correction like that. Okay. All of these students are following the strategies and the structures and all the advice and everything in the lessons that I'm just sharing with you here. So in the comments, you'll see a link to a YouTube and a Facebook playlist. Hi Emma, good to see you here. It says I'm having problems with my internet, so the Facebook. Let me share that again. It's shared on YouTube, but not on Facebook. Okay, seems to have worked. Okay, so basically, I'm expecting everybody to follow these playlists here that I've shared. If you haven't already completed those, please go ahead. If you're joining me live, like Emma here, what I'll do is I'll pop in and out. So I'll do some of the correction on the essay. I'll pop in, see if anybody here has any questions, answer those questions, and I'll go back and forth between the essay and the people who've joined live. Hi, Maha. Good morning. Good to see you here. Okay, so let's choose the winner. And I've just loaded all of the participants into this little app here. So Sithija, I just need a moment to get Sithija's essay. Here we go. As I'm going through the essay, I'll explain what I want to see, what I expect to see. So it will all be in relation to what you've seen in that playlist, what I've shown you to do already. So if you participated in the competition and you didn't win, you can still compare what you've written to Sathija's essay. You can learn from Sathija's mistakes, and it's still good practice to participate in the competition. So I will have a new question at the end of the lesson, and even if you didn't win, it's still good practice, and you'll learn something from the correction. Hi Shashank, good to see you here again. Okay, so let's get started. I can make that a little bit easier to see for all of you here. Okay, that's a bit clear. All right, so the first sentence I want in the essay is to paraphrase this question statement. Some people believe that it's better to live in the countryside. Others argue that living in the city is superior. So that's what I want first. Some individuals think that living in the rural area, if we were talking about one city, we could talk about the rural area, or if we're talking about one state, but we're talking about anywhere in the world, so it would have to be rural areas. So that is a grammar mistake because it doesn't fit the context. Some individuals think that living in rural areas is better than what? So if better is a comparative, so is better than living in urban areas. However, okay, so that's another grammar mistake. I'm just going to mark this so that I can see this. I can assess the scores more easily later on. However, others think living in a city is superior. Okay, so there's one more and two more grammar mistakes. So far it's all grammar mistakes. The fact that this paraphrase has the same meaning as the question statement is the most important part of the paraphrase. So that's basically, besides the grammar mistakes, this is actually a good paraphrase because it has the exact same meaning. That's more than anything. And you'll see here, city is superior, city is superior. So, this, we could improve on this by having more synonyms, but if having more synonyms meant that the paraphrase didn't have the same meaning as the question, that would be a bigger problem. So I'd much rather just change as many words as you can, but like Shashank has done here, not Shashank, sorry, who is the winner? Apologies. Sathija has done here. Copy the words from the question if necessary. Hey, Jervin. Good to see you here. And Ruhin, good to see you here as well. As I'm going through the essay, if you're unsure about anything, if you have any questions about anything, please do ask. Please feel free to ask as we're going through it. Okay, so the next part of the question is this: discuss both views and give your own opinion. Now, if Sathija is following my strategy properly, what we will have is one main idea to explain why some people think that living in the countryside is better, one main idea to explain why some people think living in the city is better, and then one main idea to support the opinion. And in the opinion, what I want is either Sathija will agree with this group of people or with this group of people, and then it'll be another reason, not the same reason that we already had to support the two groups of people, but a third main idea to support the whatever side that Sathija has chosen. Okay, so that's what I'm expecting, and let's see if that's what I get. Living in the countryside, Max. Okay, so first of all, that's a spelling mistake. This is a subject verb mistake. Living in the countryside maximizes. So that's a subject verb issue. Their personal freedom. Okay, so they have more personal freedom in the countryside. That's good. So that's one main idea. That's what I wanted here, a main idea to support this view. So we have the first one. And others think cities are not good, but better. So it's not just that they're good. I could think that the countryside is better, but I could still think that the city is good. So this has to be better. So that is another mistake. And here, another mistake. Now, I did change are is to are, but that's just to keep the grammatical accuracy, whereas originally that wasn't a mistake. Because they have good underground facilities. Yep. This isn't, in relation to the vocabulary, it would be better to say, underground transport facilities. Now, I know, I believe it's in New York, they refer to it as the underground, but I have to make that connection. So the vocabulary isn't perfectly clear, but the main idea is appropriate. I think staying with our family is better than the place where we are living. This is inappropriate. Okay, so this is unrelated to the question. The question is the countryside better or is the city better? And if your opinion is the family is better, well, now it's nothing to do with the question. So Sathija has responded to both views, but the opinion is irrelevant. And from here, the opinion is irrelevant. Now, maybe Sathija will have something later in the essay to rescue the score, but right now, based on what is in the introduction, the task achievement score is currently a band 5 because they've only partially answered the question. Their opinion has nothing to do with the context of the question, so it's unrelated, and we need 3 relevant and specific 3 ideas that are relevant and specific if we're going to get at least a band 6, and then, a band 6 for task achievement. So maybe something will appear in the body paragraphs, but so far what we're seeing here, just making a note. What we're seeing here makes it look like we're going to get a band 5 for task achievement. Hi, Razzie. Good to see you here. Okay, so far, if you're joining live or even if you're watching the recording, feel free to ask questions. I can see that there are people here at the moment. You don't have to just, passively watch. You can get involved. You can ask me questions. Okay, so next, I'm looking at the first body paragraph. Now, I just want to do a word count on this. Tools, word count. We're looking at, excuse me, I've got my technology a bit mixed up here. 298 words, so that's not too long. That's actually fine. So next, what I'm expecting is a paragraph about the first view. And I'm expecting the same main idea from the introduction to be discussed in that first body paragraph. So we need to discuss personal freedom and develop that. Okay. Okay, so some think the countryside is... Okay, so this student is making a lot of mistakes with articles. That's definitely something to work on. Some think the countryside is a better place to live because it helps to increase their personal freedom. Okay, now this is good because we just have a repetition of the exact same main idea. And where some students go wrong is they have a different main idea, or they try to paraphrase the main idea and it's not clear, or it has a different meaning. So this is perfect. Personal freedom, personal freedom. It's the same main idea. It's the first sentence of the paragraph. And I know exactly what this paragraph is about. There should be a line. You should leave a line between the paragraphs so it's clear. But I do know that on Facebook, it's not always easy to do that, because you need to, if you press return, that posts the comment, you need to press shift and return to leave a line. So I'll just assume that Sathija didn't know that. Okay, so now we need to explain this idea, and it has to be an explanation. Why is there more personal freedom in the countryside? Rural areas, so that's another grammar mistake with plurals. Rural areas have, another article mistake, a lack of sound noises. Rural areas have a lack of noises. A lack of is like something, a lack of something sounds negative. So it's not that. It's rural areas have less noise. But this is an incorrect collocation. It's not sound noises, just have less noise. And that should not be plural. So what we're seeing here is that Sathija knows how to write an essay, but it's grammar and vocab are the main areas that Sathija needs to work on. Rural areas have less noise compared to cities. And this directly influences their freedom. This directly influences their freedom. So more grammar mistakes. That doesn't make sense. I don't know why I have more freedom if there's less noise. I can definitely see there are benefits to having less noise. It's more peaceful. There's less noise, it's more peaceful. But freedom is, there are less rules, less regulations. there are more things you can do. You can make more decisions for yourself. You have more variety of things you're allowed to do. But I can't see how a lack of noise makes more freedom. So it seems like this is a vocabulary mistake. And it seems like Sathija is developing the idea that there is more peace. And I would totally agree with that. But if you're talking about peace, but you're using the word freedom, this is really hurting the coherence and cohesion score. So now I'm guessing what Sathija means. I don't know for sure. And that is really hurting. That's really hurting both the coherence and cohesion score and the vocabulary score. You don't want the examiner guessing what you mean. Okay, so let's continue. Minimum background noises, there's a spelling mistake, helps to make friendly environment, minimal background noise helps to create a friendly environment, such as behaviors of birds, and this natural phenomena increases individuals' freedom, and they feel rural areas are a good place to live. Okay, so again, that's the end of the paragraph, so we need to leave a line. But really, this is actually, so far I've been able to at least guess what Sathija means, but this, now I'm getting lost. From minimal background noise helps to create a friendly environment, I understand, such as behavior of birds. That's not an environment, so I don't know what this is about. I'm completely confused by this. And this natural phenomena increases individuals' freedom. Again, I don't see the connection between, I don't know what a friendly environment is. I don't know why birds are being discussed. I don't know. It must be that Sathija wants to talk about the word peacefulness, but is using the word freedom. So this is becoming unclear. So it's really vocabulary. Vocabulary is the main issue, and there are a lot of grammar mistakes as well. The thing is, I can understand that with the grammar mistakes, I can always understand what's being said. But with the vocab mistakes, now I'm getting confused. So vocabulary definitely is the main issue here. Okay, so now we're moving on to the next paragraph. And what I'm expecting here is this main idea again. They have good underground facilities. Okay, so let's see. Do we have any questions? No questions. So we'll just continue on. Like I said, if you're here live or if you're watching the recording, please do ask questions. Okay, so in the previous one, Sathija did a good job of the topic sentence in the first body paragraph, and I'm expecting the same thing again, that we will clearly see a sentence saying this paragraph is about the second main idea, and the main idea being they have good underground facilities. Now, however, others think living in an urban area is not good, and we discussed why earlier on, but it has to be better. So there were two mistakes with commas. You needed a comma after however, but not before because. And what's this? A spelling mistake with because. Okay. Others think living in an urban area is better because they have enough underground facilities. So we have the same main idea again. So this essay has been structured quite well. Sathija knows how to write an answer. The issue is just the vocabulary. And you may have noticed that at the start of the essay, I was highlighting the grammar and the vocab mistakes in red, because at that point, I was trying to see, when I get to the end of the essay, it might be the density, the number of mistakes might be a consideration. But at this point, I can see there are so many grammar mistakes, the grammar score is band 5. The difficulty of understanding the text, coherence and cohesion and vocab, they're both band 5s. So this isn't, even if the rest of the essay is, written perfectly, which, I mean, with accurate vocabulary and grammar, these scores will not recover. The damage is done at this point. Now, they might get lower, but they're not going to get higher because there are parts I didn't understand. Task achievement is band 5 so far because of that main idea to support the opinion in the introduction that we saw. That was irrelevant, but there might be a main idea that's appropriate later, and that would rescue that score. So the task achievement score can still go up, but the other scores can only go down from here. Hi, Dominic. Good to see you here. May have a comma before because no, we don't have commas before because they're not independent clauses. Is it okay to use the same word again and again without using synonyms? Example, we use better. Yes. Now, the thing is, Razi, is if you have a synonym that is accurate, you should use it. But when you're in the Ielts test, you're not going to take risks. So it's not like I've used the word better too many times. I feel like I shouldn't use it anymore. That's a bad way to approach the test. It's I have other synonyms and they're also appropriate. I'll use them. That's great. But if it's I don't know any other synonyms, then just use the same word. And I know a lot, I've seen this a lot with, students and candidates where they feel, I'm after using the word better 5, 6, 7 times. I can't use that anymore. That's not true. If that's the only word you have to communicate your ideas clearly, you continue using that as often as you need it. You're expecting your essay to be reviewed. You're usually luckier. So we had 12 participants, and I just chose it at random using that app. I don't want to pick it using my eyes closed because I know people will be disappointed. They'll say it's unfair. You have your speaking test today, Zaron. So best of luck with that. And I would say honestly, start practicing. Start practicing speaking. Get into the mood and get into the swing of it. And definitely force yourself to think in English between now and the start of your speaking test, because if you're already forcing yourself to think in English, you'll be in that mode and you'll be more comfortable when the essay starts. And best of luck with that. Razi, you're very welcome. Okay, so let's dive back into the essay. Okay, to live, individuals need good facilities like continuous electricity throughout the year, and in urban areas, people would have good power connections compared to rural areas. Okay, so underground facilities, now it sounds, so initially I thought we were discussing, like a metro, an underground, the train system that runs below some cities. That's when I saw underground facilities in the introduction, that's what I thought we were talking about. But now it seems that we're talking about electrical supply, which runs underground instead of overground. So again, this is vocabulary, and this is going to hurt both vocab and the coherence and cohesion score, because now I'm confused and I have to guess what I mean again. So initially I was guessing here, but it sounded right. Now I'm guessing again, and that's basically your coherence and cohesion score. If the examiner has to guess or the reader has to guess what you're talking about, that's poor coherence and cohesion. Okay. And in urban areas, people not would have, but they do have good power connections compared to rural areas. That helps to maintain people's daily functions. This helps people with their daily, I'd say chores makes more sense. Function is more like like the different things you can do on your phone. You have the function of sending text messages, calling people, surfing the internet. You have the function of, there's the light on your phone. Those types of things are functions. So that word isn't appropriate there. For example, nowadays, many individuals are using electricity, so that's a spelling, to cook, as it is easy and quick, and they feel living in an urban area is superior because of that reason. Okay. So the development is actually fine. It actually makes sense. It's actually well developed, but the issue is underground facilities does not mean electrical or power supply or electricity supply. So if Sathija had said electricity supply, this development would have been great. But now it's unrelated to the topic, and again, it's a vocab mistake. So again, that's hurting the score. Okay, and now we're moving on to the last paragraph, the last body paragraph, excuse me. And what you'll notice is Sathija has a very good understanding of actually how to do the Ielts test, but Sathija needs to work on his English more. It's vocab and grammar. Vocab and grammar mistakes are what's stopping Sathija from getting a good score. Sathija knows that, how many main ideas, how to structure, how many paragraphs, how to write a topic sentence, how to develop. So in relation to the actual exam skills, this is a relatively strong answer. It's the vocab and grammar. Now, according to my view, that isn't. So when you say according to, that means, okay, so if I said like, I met a man yesterday and according to him, there's going to be an increase in taxes next month. Now, that means if I'm saying that to you, I'm saying I don't know if it's true. I'm just saying I have information that another guy gave me. And whether that's true or not, I don't know. I'm just passing the information to you that I heard from someone else. So I'm not supporting, I'm not claiming it's true, I'm not claiming it's not true. I'm allowing you to decide if you want to believe that or not. That's why I say, according to this man, according to this person. So I'm distancing myself from whether it's true or not. So we don't say according to me or according to my view, because you don't distance yourself from your own opinion. So that doesn't make sense. So just in my view, or in my opinion, people want to live with their family wherever the place we live, wherever they are. Okay. Now this is the same main idea that we had in the introduction, and it's irrelevant. So is the city better than the country? Is the city better than the countryside? It's better to live with your family. That wasn't an option. You have the option of city or countryside. Those are the options. If you don't choose one, you're not writing about what the question asked you to write about. Because all of us want to live, and that would mainly given by their family members. So what was that? I deleted the word love. Because all of us want to live with the people we love, and that would mainly the people we love. And that, I'm trying to correct this, and I really don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to correct it. I don't know what Sathija is actually trying to say. So at the moment, I can't correct it because I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. Keep in mind as well, because we had three main ideas. So let's just say Sathija had three main ideas that were relevant, right? So let's say they were all relevant. That would get us a band 6. Develop those ideas a little bit, that would get us a band 7. Develop those ideas more, that would get us a band 8. But you need to develop each idea. So this looks like about an appropriate amount of development. This is too much because, you're still just writing about 280 words. You still only have 40 minutes. So this is a bit too much because of the time restrictions. This paragraph could have been shorter, and this is simply too short. This needs to be longer. The main idea is irrelevant, so it doesn't matter what comes next. It's not going to help the task achievement score. But having said that, if the main idea was appropriate, this would be, I don't understand it, but this would possibly be enough development for a band 7. Definitely not enough development for a band 8. So just keep that in mind as well. Okay, so let me just pop back, see if anybody has any questions. Ropak, good morning to you. Good to see you here. Okay, so that brings us to the last paragraph. And essentially what I want is the 3 main ideas in the context of the question. That's what I expect in the conclusion. So in conclusion, some think that living in a rural area is superior to living in an urban area because they can enjoy their own freedom. So it's the same idea. Now it's the same vocabulary mistake, but the fact that I have the main idea here is what I'm looking for. Whereas others think living in a city, not this city, because this city would be one city. We're talking about any city. We're just comparing any city with any urban, rural area. So others think living in a city is good as people need precious underground facilities to live. Now, again, the vocab mistake is still the vocab mistake, but what we're seeing again is that Sathija knows exactly what information needs to be in a conclusion. We need the main ideas in the context of the question so that if somebody came along and read the conclusion, let's say they didn't read any of the paragraphs or the other paragraphs of the question, they would still know exactly what this essay was about by reading the conclusion. So this is a good conclusion. But my opinion is that all of us with love, and as a result, we want to live with our family members. I don't know what this means, live with love. All of us live with love, and as a result, that's unclear. But what we do have is we do have the third main idea in the conclusion. So the same issues I discussed about, vocab mistakes, ideas not being relevant, they all still apply. But besides that, everything that should be in a conclusion is in this conclusion. So that does show us that the conclusion is written appropriately. Zareen, you're very welcome and best of luck in the test. Farah, we don't always need an example. We need development. So development can be an example. Development can be an explanation. It's not that you have to have an example. It's that you have to develop the main idea. So that's not a factor. And an example is a great way to develop an idea, especially if the question only requires 2 main ideas. It's difficult to continue an explanation for as long as you need. So an example is a great way to develop an idea when there are just 2 main ideas, but not always necessary. But as you go to 3 main ideas and 4 main ideas, there's no onus. It's not necessary to have examples, but they're very useful ways to develop the main idea. I felt the high vocabulary is not really important in. Not sure what that means, but vocabulary is very important. Absolutely very important. High vocabulary. Maybe you mean like words that are not used frequently. Yeah. So when you're writing, the highest score you'll get is by communicating clearly. And the thing is, with words you can already use easily, you'll communicate clearly with them. And when you know how to use a word already, you'll use the right word. So where the mistakes come from are when students and candidates try to use words that they're not familiar with because they think that will give them the higher vocab score. So they're trying to cheat isn't a fair word. They're not trying to cheat. They're trying to push their score up. So they're trying to pretend they have a better vocab ability than they do. They make more mistakes. They end up with a lower score than if they focused on clear communication. So like when we refer to, like good words or, less common words, most people think about the words that they cannot use. But you're not trying to use words you cannot use. You're trying to show how well you can communicate. And how well you can communicate is with the words you can use. So don't try to, you're only fooling yourself by pretending your vocab is better than it is. Focus on clear communication in the test. If you need to improve your vocab, do that before the test. Can we use contractions in writing essay like in speaking? Yes. Contractions are an old, the language is changing. So in the past, contractions were considered non-academic and not suitable for academic writing, but that's changing now. However, if you're doing the general training test, you can use that to your advantage. So for a formal letter, don't use contractions. For an informal letter, do use contractions. But in task 2, there's no part of your score that depends on contractions, so just use them as normal. If you're doing the academic test, you just use contractions as much as you want. If you're doing the general training test, you only need to be concerned about that in task. Hi, Maravik. Good to see you there. Okay, and sorry, sir, high vocab is not really important in writing. It depends what you mean by high vocab. Okay, I did explain it. Okay, so back to Sathija's essay. And what we're talking about now are the scores. I've explained every mistake. I've explained why those mistakes are wrong. Task achievement band 5, the biggest issue was the idea to support the opinion was not about the question, was not related to the question. It was irrelevant. So task achievement band 5. Coherence and cohesion band 5, mainly because of the vocabulary mistakes. So there were parts that I highlighted in pink where I didn't know what they were talking about. They used the word underground, for example, to refer to electricity. That those things do not have the same meaning. That there is a band 5 for coherence and cohesion because I don't know what's going on. Band 5 for vocab because there are times where, again, for the exact same reason, the vocab mistakes are affecting the coherence and cohesion score. Now, there are other aspects of coherence and cohesion, like, the cohesive devices, the layout of the paragraphs, having the main ideas in the introduction and the conclusion, following the same format, the same pattern where the first, second, and third main ideas in the introduction were the first, second, and third main ideas in the body paragraphs. So there's a lot of very good aspects of coherence and cohesion, but it was the lack of clarity that pulled the score down. Grammar is a band 5, but not because grammar mistakes made it unclear. It was just because there were so many grammar mistakes. So Sathija, you do need to focus on articles. Came up a lot. I think articles would be a good place for you to start. But more so than that is vocabulary. Excuse me. So with vocabulary, you're not going to focus so much on improving your range. You're going to focus more on improving your accuracy because that's where the mistakes are coming. You're trying to use less frequent words. They don't mean what you want to mean. I mean, it was obvious from the essay that you had, excuse me, I just need to get back here. It was obvious from the essay that you have, the word power connections, electricity. So you had these words, but you decided to use the phrase underground facilities, which doesn't have that meaning. So really, you could have worked more on clear communication. That would have helped your score. But even at that, I think without those vocab mistakes, the fact that your task achievement score wasn't there, you could potentially bring yourself up to, a 5.5 by not by just not using words you're unfamiliar with. But if you do need a higher score than that, you're going to have to work very hard on improving your vocab. Okay, so overall band 5 in every band, overall band 5. So that's the correction. Besides that, there are still 15 people here at the moment. So do you have any questions? Maha, what is the best way to learn articles usage in the IELTS essay? You don't learn articles for IELTS, you just study articles. So it's not that articles in IELTS is different from articles in normal English outside the context of the test. Articles are articles. So if you know how to use them, you can. If you don't know how to use them, you can't. The IELTS test does not have any influence on that. So don't think about articles or grammar or vocab in the context of the IELTS test. Think of them as English. And that's why we have like task achievement and coherence and cohesion. They're very much the IELTS skills. Vocab and grammar are very much your English ability, your English proficiency. So if you're trying to improve your vocab and grammar scores, you don't do it in the context of the IELTS test. You do it because you need it for the IELTS test, but it's not like if you're doing research online, you don't go IELTS articles, you just go articles in the English language. Besides that, and this is why articles are pretty much the last piece of the puzzle that fall into place for English language learners, because if we say subject verb agreement, that's quite a specific part of grammar, or we say tenses, that's a very specific part of grammar. But with articles, it covers a range, and that's what's problematic with articles, is there are so many different rules that apply in different contexts, and there are different meanings and different reasons. So what I would suggest is break articles down into the various reasons. So is it like articles, are you making mistakes because you're using articles with uncountable nouns? Are you making mistakes because you're using the combination of an article with a plural or singular noun? Is it a mistake with articles, the first time you mention something has to be a, and then from then on, whenever you mention it, you use the? So is it that combination? So there are about 8 or 10 rules like that. And what you want to do is consider them as completely different parts of English grammar, because they're all articles, because it's a and the or zero article. But you don't want to focus on how to use a, how to use an, how to use the, how to use zero article. You want to focus on how to use articles with plurals, how to use articles with singular nouns, how to use articles with uncountable nouns. Consider those as different parts of grammar. From there, what you want to do is you want to determine which ones are you using correctly already, and then you can remove them and don't worry about them anymore. Because most likely, not most likely, definitely, with all students, you'll have, there are 8 different aspects of articles. You're probably using 3 or 4 correctly, and it's the other ones that you're having problems with. So just determine which ones you're doing correctly, which ones you're using incorrectly, and that will narrow the focus on what you need to improve, and just take them one at a time and follow the grammar improvement strategy I shared with you at the start of this lesson. And it's just about learning the rules, look at which rule you don't fully understand, doing more research into that specific rule. And the rules that are confusing are the rules that you're most likely making mistakes with. Then what you want to do is a lot of reading, where you try to find examples of those rules and get more familiar with how they're used. Then you start using them yourself. A long answer to your question, but that's what you need to do. Hi, Sandeep. Good to see you here. Yes, I remember. Sorry, I'm afraid I don't. I know you're saying remember. That's not a problem. I'm just not sure what it is you're referring to. Okay. So in today's live stream, what I'm doing is choosing the winner to the competition and doing an essay correction. But in the live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I know a lot of you have already participated, but just for anyone new, my Tuesday, Thursday live streams, we just get a task 2 question and we work through it together, and I give you all as much advice as I can on, are your ideas relevant? Are they specific? So it's not like the live stream today. The ones on Tuesdays and Thursdays are more to do with giving feedback to everybody who's present. I also have 4 lessons on Zoom, and those are exclusive to my subscribers. So I'll just share the link to sign up for those. And those are based on IELTS speaking, IELTS writing task 1 for academic and for general training. And then we have another lesson on task 2. So those are every week as well. Yep, so you just sign up for those, Sandeep, with your email. So click on the link, sign up with your email, and I send out the schedule every week for those lessons as well. So you'll have 3 lessons with me on live streams, and then more lessons with me in Zoom as well. Okay, so I was saying that we also have a question at the end of this lesson. So a new competition. So between now and Tuesday, the end of Tuesday next week. So again, I'll announce the winner on Wednesday, just like today's live stream. So by the end of Tuesday, write the answer to this question, and you can just post it in the comments under this video. So when I stop recording, when I press stop on the live stream, the recording will be on YouTube and there will be a comment section. So you can just post your answers in there. So this is the question for next Wednesday. These days, many people spend extra hours in the evening at work instead of going home to their families. What is the cause of this situation? What are its effects on society? So that's the question for next week. Write your answer, post it in the comments under this video before the end of Tuesday. I'll select the winner on Wednesday and give them a full correction like you just saw with Sathija here today. Okay, so that's it for today. I'm back on the live stream tomorrow and I'll see you there. Or if you are a subscriber, if you've already subscribed, I'll see you in the task 1 lesson later today. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care of yourselves and see you all in the next lesson. Bye-bye.